Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend, and we've got a lot of stuff to cover today. So we have seen, because of the eye to eye and how many people are doing it and how many people are getting in front of, we've seen tons and tons of 21s here in the last month, and we've noticed a couple of things that people are maybe missing out on when they're doing the 21. So I wanted to just touch base on that. First thing is when you get to the things done well, we always want to do things done well first. So why do we want to do things done well first, guys? Let me get a couple answers to that. Why do we want to do things done well first here? What's the purpose of that? GOTS, yep, Keith. Yeah, balance, to be even, Bruce, exactly. Good start. So here's how I do the get things done well. First of all, I hope that they have money. I hope that they're low debt. So there's certain things, I hope that, you know, they've done a good job putting money into their retirement account. So I want to compliment them on that. So I'll always say this. So first I'd like to talk about a lot of the things that you've done well. And I go through blah, blah, blah. And then, but when I get to, and you have low debt, and you put a good amount of money away for retirement. So, and here's the thing, folks. Those are things, you've done all the heavy lifting. Because if you came to me and you were full of debt, or you came to me and you had no money saved, how much could I help you? Well, not very much. I say, yeah, not very much. So the fact that you've done all the heavy lifting, you've done the work, things that take decades to do, to get out of debt, to have your house paid off, to put away money for retirement, that's wonderful. That's wonderful, because if you hadn't done that, there'd be nothing I do for you. And as we go through the meeting, the things that I'm going to show you how you can improve, those are easy. As compared to what you've done already, those are easy, those are quickly fixed, those are things that can be done very, very rapidly and really at no effort as compared to what you've already done. So what am I doing there, do you think? What am I doing there with that little talk about, hey, you've done all the hard work? Stuff I'm going to show you today is easy and quickly done. Empowering, yeah. Building foundation, yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm also making, easy to work with me, Michael. That's exactly right. It's easy to work with us. Easy, easy, easy. That's exactly right. So I'm saying, hey, you've done these things well. You've done all the heavy lifting. If you came to me and hadn't done these two things, gotten out of debt, paid off your home, for the most part, either all of it or for the most part, and put money away, there is nothing I could do for you. So you've done all the hard work, the stuff that takes years and years and years to do. So congratulations. The thing I'm going to show you today are things that we can address very, very quickly. So make sure you're using something like that when you do the things done well. And I'm not seeing you guys doing that. The second thing, for some reason, I don't know, it's some weird thing. Jeff and I were talking about it last week, because it's not in the video. It's not in the script, so, but many guys are doing this all on their own, and I'm not sure why. And you're going through, when you get to the areas of concern, so after you said, we've got some things to look at. The nice thing is they're easy to fix, and we can fix them really quickly. But then you start going through the survivor's guide, and you explain the survivor's guide, and so I'm not saying you page through the whole document. I'm saying that you stay right on page 4, and you start to give them a summary, a survivor's guide. You start to give them a summary of the will. You start to give them a summary of the trust. You start to give them a summary of the power of attorney and the medical power of attorney. You give them a summary of the medical power electronically. You give them a summary of the quality. Dudes, why are you doing that? You're stealing your own thunder. All you're going to say is there's a number of things that we need to take a look at. And the nice thing is they're easy to fix, and we can do it very rapidly. So do you have anything to add to that, Jeff? Because it's weird how it's not in any of the scripts or the videos, but we're finding many guys doing it, so it's almost like it's happened organically for some reason.
Yeah, so what he's talking about is what you guys are doing is you're saying, okay, so now those were the things done well, so the next thing we need to look at are these areas of concern. So here's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at the survivor's guide and how important it is to fill that out to make sure that your kids don't miss anything, and we'll talk about that. Also, we're going to want to look at your will, and the reason that we want to look at that is it's been a long time since you got it done, and we're going to look at that and some things that you're going to want to, we got a whole checklist there that you can look at, and then we're going to want to look at your trust or talk about maybe getting a trust. I don't know if you really need one, but we'll look at that here in a second. And we're going to talk about your power of attorney and some things that could be wrong with your power of attorney, and how if your power of attorney doesn't work, how that's really going to put you. So it's kind of like you're summarizing the areas of concern before you flip the page to start going through them. And when I hear it, it can take 5 to 10 minutes for you guys.
Well, and I've seen worse, because you're right, it takes them 5 to 10 minutes, but guess what the client does in between that 5 to 10 minutes? They get to something they're really interested in, and then the client say, oh yeah, and then there'll be a 10-minute tangent conversation about power of attorney or about quality of life directive before you even get there, right at the beginning of the meeting.
Yeah, and there's a few problems with that, like Mike was saying. One is you're stealing your thunder. You're already describing it. You're describing it before they even have a chance, before you even have a chance to get them to tell you anything about it. Meaning, the whole script is to get them involved and to get them interactive, but they can't do the summary because they haven't heard it yet. So you guys just drone on and on for 15 minutes doing the summary. The other thing that happens that I find is you guys get rushed at the end of a meeting. There's always a point in a tape where I can tell you must have looked up at the clock, because you literally say words like this: oh my, I didn't realize how late it was getting. Well, we're almost done. So we just have like 3 more things to go through, so let me just cover those quickly. And man, you probably wish you had those 15 minutes back. So spend those 15 minutes on the end and give yourself a demo break at the beginning, and don't do that.
So all you're going to do here is say, so you've done all the heavy lifting. So the things that we're going to talk about today, the areas of concern, are things that are going to be really easy to fix, and we can do it very rapidly. So why don't we go ahead and get started? Turn the page to the Survivor's Guide and go into the Survivor's Guide script. There is no script for this page except to say these things that we're going to look at, these areas of concern. It might be a long list, but the nice thing is they're easy to fix, and we can do it very rapidly. Not like all the hard work you've already done and accomplished. That's it. That took how long? 10 seconds. Turn the page, and then you're into the Survivor's Guide script. So does that make sense? Any questions on that? You do not read this list. You do not summarize this list. You do nothing with this list except the great thing about, now this may look like a long list of concerns and things that we can do to enhance what you've already been able to accomplish, but they're easy to fix and we can do it very rapidly. Make sense? Can I get some yays or nays? Good. Now, the other thing, or one of the things we're going to talk about today, and this does not happen often, but you should be ready for it when it does. If you're a small office, what do some people ask you if you're a small office, a 1-person office or a 2-person office? What would some people ask you? I mean, if you're not a Merrill Lynch office or a Smith Barney office, I mean, what will people ask you? And if they're not asking you, this is terrific. Yeah, continuation plan, Bruce. Yeah, what if something happens to you, Mark? Exactly. So how do you handle it? Here's how I would handle it, because I was a 1-man office with Missy and a receptionist. So I'd say that's a great question. That's a great question. Actually, I handle that because if you don't want to be working with somebody, and if they're run over by a bus, you have to start all over again. So that makes total sense. So I'm going to get on their side, and then I'm going to say, so we address that a couple of different ways. One is the whole purpose of what this process that we're going through with this checklist is to make sure that we get everything done right now, all of your ducks in a row, so that you're taken care of for a year, do you think, or for 5 years? Do you think we're going to do all this work and have you find all these documents, and we're going to go through all this process to get your ducks in a row for 1 year or for 5 years? And what would they say to that? Yeah, 5 years. Yeah, 5 years. I mean, why would we want to go through all this work for just 1 year? That would be what? Crazy. So the reason I spend so much time up front and so much thought about what we're doing and make sure you have all of this stuff done is so that if I was run over by a bus or you were run over by a bus, that this thing could run on its own for 5 years. Do you think 5 years would be adequate for you to find somebody else to help you? And what would they say to that? Yeah, that's pretty darn, yeah. And now here's the thing. If you like the way I've treated you, if you like the process that we go through, if you like what we've been doing, I work with 150 other advisors across the country that work the exact same way. And we have, if one of our guys retires or one of our guys passes away, one of those guys does reach out to you and offers their services. So Missy, do we help guys when our guys pass away? Do we help clients who need help by hooking up with one of our other guys?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So we've been doing that for 16 years. So guess what that does to their concern? Goes away. But the reason I bring that up is, besides that, overcoming objection, getting on their side, saying, hey, we do things for 1 year, we fix things for the next 5 years so they could run all by themselves on autopilot for 5 years. And then we say, but we have other 150 guys who do business the exact same way, that use the exact same process, that approach taking care of their clients the exact same way, and we hook you up with one of them if something happens to us. But and that's how we overcome that objection. But FINRA is kicked around, the SEC is kicked around, and I think it's a great idea that we all should have business continuation plans. So if you do not have a business continuation, if you do have a business continuation plan, you are excused from this rest of this call. Because I'm about to go through how to do a business continuation plan. And it's important because here's the thing. Anybody aware of what happened with the internet this weekend? What happened with the internet this weekend? Yeah, Mark knows. Jerry knows. Perry does. Yeah, a little hack or a huge hack? Huge hack. So hackers had basically taken control over years and years of silly people leaving their computers running 24/7. Hackers have built up this huge mega computer across the world, taking control of people's cameras and taking control of people's computers. And the reason they use them is not to do anything to your computer. They actually use your computer to harm other computers. So they're not even taking control. You don't even know they have control of your computer because they're not doing any harm to your computer. Why do they want to hurt Mrs. or Mrs. Jones in Rochester, Minnesota? They don't. But they want 30 million Mrs. Jones around the country, because then what they do is they have those 30 million computers attack websites. And then they get I forget, request for service. I forget. I'm not big on computers, but I'm big on emergencies. And the emergency is that they were having all these computers hit all the major websites. Denial of service. Thank you, Jerry. Denial of service by deluging these websites with requests for service, and the websites could not handle it and it was shutting them down. That's just a shot over the bow, guys. There's just so many things that can happen. You know, we're in the internet of everything. You understand what the internet of everything is? People have their houses. My neighbor spent $2 million for their house. They have it, a smart house. They were out in the middle of winter last year. They had no heat for 2 days in the middle of winter last year with below zero temperatures. Do you think it was because their furnace didn't work? Guess what didn't work? Guess what didn't work? Yeah, they had a smart house, and their smart house went down. So it had nothing to do with the furnace. I mean, that right there convinced me I'm never going to have a smart house. That's crazy. I'm not going to have my house locked to the internet. So we have the internet problems. We have fires, floods, and we have weather. We have hurricanes. We have power outages. Guys, do you think the power grid is more stable than it was 50 years ago, or less stable than it was 50 years ago? Far less, exactly. So you need to have a business plan in place. A succession plan doesn't mean if you're killed. That's one of the things. But a succession plan is talking about all of the things that can happen in your business and how are you going to deal with it. And should you be dealing with it when the emergency happens? Should you be dealing with it when the emergency happens? No, it's too late at that point. So you need to deal with it before. So if you go to the FINRA site, you can download their template, business continuation continuity plan template. And that's where the rest of this presentation came from. Basically, I'm just giving you the highlights of their template, but they've actually given you the verbiage, they've given you all the things you need to think about, etc. So I would highly recommend, if you have not done this, we're coming into, after you get through October and you get into the slower months of November, December, you should absolutely get this thing in place, because the likelihood of needing a continuity plan is way larger now than it's ever been before, okay? So you're going to save you and your clients and a lot of stress. And if FINRA and the SEC come out and say you're going to need to do, this is going to be a requirement, well, then you better have this in place anyways. But it's a smart idea whether they're required or not. So you go there, and they're going to actually give you the template for that. So we're going to walk right through it. First thing is you need to have your emergency contact information. So you need to have 2 contact people that your clients can get a hold of if you're not available, or your broker dealer, your RIA, or whoever, or the regulators can get in contact if they cannot get a hold of you. You need to have 2 contact people in that contact. You need to have them listed if you're a broker, work with a broker dealer, or you're a registered rep. You need to have them listed on the FINRA contact system. Their name, phone, and email. Their relationship to your firm. The other thing you need is a company policy. So the example they give in the template is, our firm's policy is to respond to a significant business disruption by safeguarding employees' lives and firm property, making a financial and operational assessment, quickly recovering and resuming operations, protecting all of the firm's books and records, and allowing our customers to transact business. In the event we determine we are unable to continue our business, we will assure customers prompt access to their funds and securities. So that's an example. So the nice thing is they've actually done this for you. You can just boilerplate what they have. And you need to be ready for both internal and external business disruption. So give me an example of an internal business disruption. Give me an example of an internal business disruption. Car accident, yep. Computer goes down, yep. Key man lost, server goes down, yeah. Business fire, and we've actually had twice in the last 16 years advisors have their offices burgled and everything taken from them. So, I mean, all the computers, et cetera, taken. I mean, they basically shut down their company. So you need to have it now with the cloud and all that's offered that way. You need to be thinking about these things. So if your computers are taken and are burgled, how much information on them? Are they locked down? Are they? Is there? Do you have locks or pass? Are they password protected? So all of your client's information isn't going to be. Any of your client's information is going to be there. Do you have everything on the cloud? So in case there's a flood, you can operate from anywhere in the world. So all those things. Okay. You have to have approval execution authority. Who can make decisions for your business if you are not there? Plan, location, and access. So we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. So our firm conducts. Then you need to have a business description. What your business is in the business of doing. Our firm here's their example. Our firm conducts business in equity, fixed income, and derivative securities. Our firm is an introducing firm and does not perform any type of clearing function for itself or others. Now, why do you think they want that in there if that's the case? Who does this protect, having that language in there? Who does this protect? You. Yeah, you and your firm. Because it's letting the people know that, hey, I don't trade stocks in my office. I actually work with a clearing firm. So furthermore, we do not withhold customers' funds or security. So don't come to me and need that stuff. We accept and enter orders. All transactions are sent to a clearing firm, which executes our orders, compares them, allocates them, clears and settles them. Our clearing firm also maintains our customers' accounts, can grant customers access to them, and delivers funds and securities. Our firm services only retail customers or retail institutions, whichever it is. We do not engage in any private placements. Our clearing firm is blankety blank blank, and our contact person at that clearing firm is blankety blank blank. Our clearing firm also has given us the following alternative contact. So basically this is saying washing your hands clean of any client needs when it comes to the money, saying, look, not us, it's who? It's not us, it's who? your clearing firm. If you're insurance only, who would you have to put in here? If you're insurance only, who would you put in there? All the insurance companies, Perry, right? All the insurance companies that you use. Exactly right. You need to know where a list of all your offices, registered and unregistered, and state the means of transportation employees may use to reach that facility. State also which mission-critical systems are defined below take place at each location. So, in the event of a what did we say this SBT was? Strategic business disorder. Let me go back up. Can't remember what it's called. Help me, somebody. Yeah, what is it?
Business
okay, strategic. There's significant business disruption. That's what it is. Okay, got it. Okay. So in the event of a significant business disruption, we will move our staff from the affected office to the closest of our unaffected office locations. If none of our office locations is available to receive those staff, we will move them to your home, to a different firm. Its main telephone number is blankety blank. So you need to be thinking about these things, guys. Could you imagine trying to think about these things when there was massive flooding in your area, or when there was a massive hurricane in your area, or when there was a massive storm or power outage or whatever it may be in your area? You can't. You need to be thinking and having these things done beforehand. Customers' access to funds and securities. State that your firm does not maintain custody of customers' funds or securities, and how the firm will make them available to the customers in the event of a significant business disruption. State the entity at which such funds and securities are held and how your firm will facilitate access to them. Describe any relationship between your firm's ability to grant customer access to funds, securities, investor protection, corporation regulation, and disbursement of funds and securities. So some of you may be thinking, but that's on their statements. That's on their statements. Is that good enough? Is that good enough? Okay, good. So people are saying no. So you have to have this continuity plan. What is your methodology for data backup and data recovery? What do you do to make sure this happens? If all of your computers are stolen, or your server crashes, or your internet service goes down, what is your data backup and recovery? What is your risk management? Risk management for all the different risks. What's your risk management against burgle? What is getting burgled? What is your risk management for protecting your clients' information? What's your risk management for in case your phones go down? I mean, what is your risk management? And again, they have great templates to use inside their template on the FINRA site. Mission critical systems. Describe your firm's mission critical systems and whether your firm or your clearing firm has responsibility for them, and your firm's review of its clearing firm's capability to perform mission critical functions for your firm. Mission critical be what? Biggest and most is what? Keep accurate records of people's assets and their ability to get at those assets. Firm's mission critical systems: order taking, order entry, order execution, other services currently provided to clients. So these are examples of mission critical systems. What are you doing if the internet goes down? What's their other options? If your computers go down, what's the other options? So you got to have other ideas of what can happen, because things are great. Technology is great when technology is working. But technology isn't working, hairy, really quick. So you got to have a backup plan. One of the backup plans you have is communication. So what are your other ways that you can communicate? So, I mean, Jeff actually lived through, I don't know if you guys remember this, but we were talking about it last week, the Detroit blackout when Detroit went down. What did the world look like? And that was only, what, like 10 or 12, 14 years ago? What did the world look like in a major city when the power went down, Jeff?
Oh, it's horrible. You don't even know all the things that you need electricity for. You can't pump gas, can't use credit card, can't get money out of an ATM. You can't use the sink because the water pumps are electrical. So you don't even know. It's bad.
And guys, when communications go down, guess what? I mean, anytime like at 9/11, how many of the people were able to use their cell phones in the Northeast when 9/11 occurred? None, exactly. That overwhelmed the cell phone system. So those of you that run your business simply on your cell phones, or run, guys, those of you that run, what do you think about a financial advisor who runs their business on VoIP? Smart or not so smart? Smart or not so smart? Not getting a lot of anxious, not getting a lot, oh, now I'm starting to get some answers. A lot of you, and those of you are wondering, why would VoIP be a problem? Dudes, I just told you about what happened to my neighbor's house. You need to get rid of VoIP and get a what? Really? So how much are you saving? And I don't even know, Missy. How much would you be saving, Missy, having a VoIP versus a landline? Any guesstimate?
Maybe 20, 25 bucks a month.
Dudes! Really? You are nuts. Because you need how many ways to communicate in today's world? I don't want to just have my cell phone. I don't want to just have a landline. I mean, you need to have multiple ways to talk. Go ahead and have VoIP, but you better have what as a backup? A landline. I would never run my business with VoIP. There's too many things that can happen with the internet nowadays. So what are in your continuity plan? You need to have all the different ways people can get a hold of you. One way is not enough. Okay, one way is not enough. What's your regulatory reporting process? Oops. What they're asking there is, for regulatory purposes, what is your business continuity plan for supporting technology, supporting the tasks that needs to get done, alternates, I mean, all of those things. And have you reported that stuff to your regulatory agencies, whoever you have to report to for regulatory purposes? What is your process for reporting to those entities, all of these things that we've been talking about? How often do you do it? Who's responsible for it? What's the process that you have in place? VoIP, voice over internet. Voice over internet. Somebody's asking what VoIP is. Voice over internet. Annual review, and then in your continuity plan, you have to have a process for annual reviews. When do you do it? And guys, should you do it? If you say it's January, guess what you should do in January? If you say it's December, guess what you should do in December? Do it. Because in today's world, how much do things change? It's crazy how much things change. So you should have an annual review, and you need to have that in your continuity plan. So should you do this? Guys, yes. Yes, yes, yes. In today's world, you need this more than you did 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Today's world is much more we think it's much more robust, but in today's world, we're much more fragile than we were in any time in the past history because of the Internet of Things. Everything's so interconnected, and it wouldn't take much to make, if you screw up the Internet, that could screw up the power, which could screw up, we go right down the line. I mean, just going through the things that would happen with power going out. So better safe than sorry. So this is something that we tell our clients they need to have a 21 done? Absolutely. Guess what this document is? What is this document we're talking about here, this business continuity plan? It's your 21 for your business. Yeah, it's a 21 for your business, Tom. And if you, man, I'm telling you, you're just going to, it does not take long to put this thing in place, maybe a day to think it through and put the verbiage here, but boy, that day can save you unbelievable headaches when and if something like that would happen. Make sense? So that's all I wanted to cover today. That's any questions, concerns with out there that we need to talk about? And guys, please, 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 as always, if you've got tapes, if you're wondering why something did not, any meeting did not happen the way it should have, send in the tape, and Jeff and I will walk you through it. Are you doing your 15 minutes, your 15-minute drills every day? If you're not, guess what? you're not really doing the 5Q system if you're not doing those 15-minute drills every day. So keep up the fight. You got another month and probably 6 weeks of hard time or hard labor for marketing and getting in front of people, and then it's going to slow down a bit. So make sure you're putting your nose to the grindstone and getting in front of as many people as possible in the next 6 weeks, and before things kind of shut down. And we'll have some ideas on how you can spend those mid-November to December times as we go forward. So thanks, everybody. It's a little bit shorter call today, but I'm sure none of you are going to complain about that, and we'll talk to you all on Friday. Oh, what page is that on FINRA? Well, I'll go right back up. So everybody else can cruise if people are looking for where that is in FINRA. But if you just type in business continuity plan, that's all you need to do. So just type in small firm business continuity plan template in FINRA and Google, and it'll pop right up for you. Super. You guys have a great rest of the day, and we'll talk to you all on Friday.